Hey everyone, and welcome back to Book Lovers Unite. Today we're tackling a book that I think is, well, it's a real game changer for anyone trying to make sense of the modern world. We're diving deep into Dr. Anna Lembke's incredible bestseller, Dopamine Nation. So let's get right into it.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever just stopped and wondered why? In an age where we have everything at our fingertips, endless shows, all the food you could want, instant information, so many of us still feel kinda meh, just a little restless or anxious or just plain dissatisfied? Well, it turns out this book has a seriously compelling answer.
And boom, Dr. Lembke just hits you with this quote right away. The modern hypodermic needle. Wow. And you know exactly what she's talking about, right? Of course, it's our smartphones. It's such a powerful and honestly kind of scary metaphor, and it perfectly sets the stage for everything we're about to unpack.
Okay, so let's get into Section 1, our dopamine overload problem. The fundamental issue here is, well, it's simple, really. Our brains are just not built for the world we've created for ourselves.
Now most of us have heard of dopamine, right? We usually call it the pleasure molecule. But here's the first big takeaway from the book that's actually a bit of a misconception. Dopamine isn't really about pleasure itself. It's the molecule of motivation. It's that little chemical messenger in your brain that says, hey, that was good, you should definitely do that again. It's the currency of desire.
And this is where the problem really starts. See, our brains are ancient. They evolved over thousands of years for a world of scarcity, a world where finding a rare patch of berries was a huge deal. Our brains were wired to go after those rare rewards, but they were absolutely not designed for the world we live in now, a world of total abundance, where a super high reward hit is just a click away. We've basically taken this ancient piece of machinery and just completely overloaded its circuits.
So how does this overload actually mess with us? Well, to explain it, Dr. Lembke uses this fantastic, and I mean brilliant, metaphor that's really the heart of the whole book. She calls it the pleasure-pain seesaw.
And here's the part that might just blow your mind. You'd think pleasure and pain are handled in totally different parts of the brain, right? Nope. Turns out they're processed in the exact same regions. It's like they're two kids on opposite ends of a seesaw, constantly trying to find a delicate balance. And you've got to get this concept because it is absolutely key to understanding everything else.
Okay, so let's walk through it. Step 1. You do something that feels good. You eat a piece of cake. You get a like on your photo. You watch a funny video. That gives you a little hit of pleasure, and bam, the seesaw tips over to the pleasure side. Makes sense, right? Pretty simple. But here's the thing about our brains. They are obsessed, and I mean obsessed with balance. It's a state called homeostasis. Your brain hates it when that seesaw is tipped for too long. So what does it do? The second it feels that pleasure tip, it immediately starts pushing back on the pain side to level things out. It's just a natural, protective thing it does.
But here's the catch. And it's a big one. The brain isn't perfect. It doesn't just bring the seesaw back to level, it overcorrects. It pushes just a little too hard on that pain side. And that slight tip into pain, that is the come down. It's that feeling of being a little irritable or that craving you get right after the good feeling fades. We've all been there.
Now that little overcorrection isn't a huge deal if it happens once in a while. But it becomes a massive problem when we keep hammering that pleasure side of the seesaw over and over and over again. This brings us to Section 3, the Gremlins of Tolerance.
I love this visualization. Dr. Lembke says to imagine that the brain's pushback on the pain side is like little gremlins jumping on. When you just do something pleasurable occasionally, the gremlins hop on and then they hop right off. No biggie. But when you're constantly indulging, oh, those gremlins don't leave. They set up camp. They invite their friends. They get bigger and heavier and stronger. And that, my friends, is tolerance. Pretty soon, you're not even trying to feel good anymore. You just need a huge hit of whatever it is just to feel normal, just to balance out the weight of all those gremlins.
And the end result of this whole downward spiral, well, it actually has a clinical name. It's called anhedonia. And it's that meh feeling we talked about right at the very beginning. It's what happens when your seesaw is so permanently weighted down on the pain side by all those gremlins that the simple, everyday joys of life, like a nice walk or a good conversation, they just don't have enough power to tip it back towards pleasure anymore. Okay, so this all sounds pretty bleak, right? Are we just doomed to live with these gremlins forever? Well, no, not at all. And this is where the book gets really practical. It offers a super clear, actionable solution to kick those gremlins off the seesaw and completely reset our brain's baseline. So what is it? A 30-day dopamine fast.
30 days. The idea is you take a full 30 days of complete abstinence from whatever your specific drug of choice is. And that could be anything, right? Social media, sugar, video games, online shopping, you name it. So why 30 days specifically? Well, that's roughly how long neuroscientists think it takes for our brain's reward pathways to really reset themselves.
Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. This journey is not a walk in the park. The book is very clear. The first couple of weeks are tough. You're going to feel withdrawal, maybe even some pain as your brain scrambles to adjust. But, and this is a big but, if you can just push through that part, weeks 3 and 4 are where the magic really starts to happen. Your brain literally resensitizes itself, and you start to find genuine joy in the little things again.
A 30-day reset is an incredibly powerful tool. But let's be real, the ultimate goal isn't just a quick fix. It's about long-term, sustainable balance. So how do we actually live in this crazy world of endless temptation without just falling right back into the same old traps?
This is our last section, finding your balance. And Dr. Lembke gives us some absolutely brilliant practical strategies. First, practice radical honesty. Be brutally honest with yourself and maybe even with others about your habits. Second, set strict, clear boundaries with your drug. No gray areas. A really cool one is to couple pleasure with effort. Like you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast while you're exercising. And then there's this fascinating idea, intentionally pressing on the pain side of the seesaw. Think things like ice baths or a really intense workout. When you do that, your brain's natural balancing act actually tips the seesaw back towards pleasure as a response.
And I think this final quote from the book just wraps it all up so perfectly. The secret to finding balance is combining the science of desire with the wisdom of recovery. See, this isn't about saying pleasure is bad or that we should all live like monks. Not at all. It's about understanding the science of how our own brains work and then using that knowledge to live a more conscious, intentional life. So, as we wrap up, I really want to leave you with this one question to think about. After hearing all this, what is your drug of choice? What's the first thing that popped into your head? Is it your phone? Is it that sugary snack? Is it online shopping? You don't have to tell anyone, but just being honest with yourself, that's the first and honestly the most powerful step you can take.
Hey, if this deep dive into Dopamine Nation gave you an aha moment or helped you understand your own brain a little better, do us a favor and hit that like button, and maybe share it with someone you think could use it. And of course, make sure you're subscribed to Book Lovers Unite for more explainers like this one. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, finding your balance all starts with understanding what's going on inside your own head.